Namaste. I am Sahara Basnet, Miss Asia Pacific International Nepal 2017.
The insecurity was so crippling that I felt like I could just burst any second. I think I had that fear of taking decisions that are not like going straight and narrow with my path right now. I always wanted to be a very strong and independent woman. My prime passion in life is to work in the development sector in Nepal, especially to uplift women and girls. My dream today is I just want to make a difference, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the biggest change in the world, but just something that I can be content with and I can be proud of, that I was able to make a difference in someone's life.
And what are you proud of?
I think I'm proud of my journey so far in life. I think with everything that I've gone through, I have witnessed my growth. I think, growing up as a very introverted child, I think I've accomplished a lot of things that required me to get out of my shell. So I'm proud of my journey.
And can you tell me more about one of this bold adventure that took you out of your shell?
Yeah, my boldest adventure so far has been to participate in a national pageant. Even though I used to be an extremely introverted kid growing up, going on national stage and answering questions and representing my country internationally, that really has been the biggest moment of pride and a true transition for me. So for me, it was, just watching women on TV to see how angelic they are on stage. You see these beautiful, confident women who are very talented and who are very smart. So for me, I think I grew up idolizing those people a lot. So just the idea of you can do anything that you want, and you don't really have to be in a box of like, oh, you're pretty, or you're smart, and it just never mixes. I think having that option of being able to do whatever you want in life, I found that very empowering.
By agreeing to fit the beauty standards set by such contests, did you feel reduced to only your physical beauty?
No, not here, surprisingly. I think, of course, there are certain criteria you have to fulfill when you get to a pageant. But I personally didn't take it as a very negative thing because, for example, if you want to go to Harvard also, there are certain criteria you have to fit. But the best thing about Miss Nepal was that they don't only focus on your physical beauty. Intellect matters a lot in Nepal, and they celebrate you for who you are, your personality, and especially what you have to say. I think so. Of course, it would be better to not have a bit of a narrow beauty standard, but at the same time, I do understand because, like I said, every aspect of life does tend to have its own criteria that you have to match, and I just tend to focus on the 90% positive, and that's how I went for it. Yeah.
And what is beauty to you?
For me, beauty is just being authentically and unapologetically yourself. And again, another cliche for sure, but it's just that, I think, and it's obviously one of the hardest things to do with, media and certain beauty standards again being pushed. But by the end of it, just being yourself is beautiful. That's the most beautiful thing.
Still, such contests promote beauty standards. How do you feel when it makes other women feel insecure about themselves and their body?
Yeah, I definitely don't encourage that aspect. And I'm not going to deny that it doesn't exist as well. I think that is unfortunate. But I do see pageants changing. Like, the whole world is changing around us. Beauty standards are not being pushed to as extreme as it was. And I am hopeful that pageants will also continue evolving with the world around us and not push a certain narrative. But we'll have to wait and see.
Okay. And what would you say to this insecure woman?
I would say don't focus on what it is in front of you on TVs and medias. I think in general also, in this social media world nowadays, we tend to see only glamorous side of the world. And I think it's important not to look at others, but look at yourself, and what makes you happy. Growing up, I think as teen especially, you struggle with that a lot, and you want to fit certain standards, you want to wear certain clothes, you want to look a certain way. But I think it's very important to move away from that, and keeping your mind open and your areas of interest open is also very important. So trying to diversify what you watch, what you read, what you learn is very important, because of course, for example, beauty standards from media might be pushed a lot in mainstream media, but that's not it. There are a lot of amazing women who look different, who are saying very different things in different platforms. So it's very important to involve yourself and educate yourself in different fields as much as possible.
Nice. And turning back to you, did you feel insecure?
I guess I did. I think I would be lying if I said I didn't. But later, being in that pageant, you get to have so many different experiences. And in that point, I realized that one of the things I'm good at was public speaking. So because of that, I just focused on that. I forgot about all the negative things and all the things I'm bad at, and I just focused on what I'm good at. And that taught me a lot about being self-confident and moving forward in life.
To me, you're so much more than Miss Nepal, because I got to know you as an inspiring social activist, and you actually co-founded an NGO in 2015, ASHA, which encouraged education for girls while they're menstruating.
I actually founded ASHA when we were just on a random trip. Me and my best friend, we just went to a school nearby in Ratnagar, and that's when we found out that access to wash facilities was a huge barrier. So seeing like such a basic need being a huge luxury for a lot of people in Nepal was a really eye-opening moment. So
something you've learned from the girls you're interacting with.
I've just learned that how people can overcome the challenges in their lives. I think, sometimes we can be too cozied up in the things that we have, and, sometimes things are not enough. But when you go around the world and you see people with different lives, you see that some people are making most of what they have.
You specialized in communication, and in your TED Talk of 2020, you highlighted that some wash campaign directly feed in gender stereotypes.
Yes, I definitely feel like that can happen. I won't necessarily say that happens all the time, but because sometimes we're trying to highlight the problems out in the world, when we go to promote certain campaigns and we go with certain messaging, it can reinstate the gender stereotypes and reinstate gender roles. Even in my TED Talk, I mentioned about how, focusing on hand wash campaign for children, focusing that campaign only for mothers is not the best thing, because if you want to create a gender transformative change, then it's important to show that parents have equal responsibility towards their children and not just put additional burden on women.
Do you have any solution to counter this negative bias?
Yes, I would say I think it's very, very important to be aware and mindful when you are actually looking at a campaign, then you see from your perspective. When I was doing research for my TED Talk as well, I looked at these campaigns and I thought to myself, if somebody came with a campaign like this in my house when I'm married with a kid, I would not feel okay that my partner is completely exhumed from the responsibility of my child's healthcare, but it's only my sole responsibility. So putting yourself in the shoe of the person you're trying to help is very, very important, because in the development sector, sometimes we can really isolate ourselves and you other people. So the othering of other people needs to stop. So I think that's the key to making sure this doesn't happen.
What would you tell your younger self? Like seeing yourself at 12 years old?
Yeah. I would say just keep up this good spirit. I didn't really I think sometimes as a child also I might have let people get to me, and I think at the time I used to feel like certain situations that I was in was everything and that things don't change. But I think it's important now that I've lived some, I've realized that nothing is permanent, even good situations and even bad situations. So it's important not to panic and just just go too much into the hardships, but realize that both positives and negatives, they always change. So it's important to focus on evolving and not stressing so much in life.
Any failure during this life journey?
Yeah, multiple failures actually. I always say that, for the certificates of achievement, I have a longer certificate of participation because I didn't secure anything. But, those are good failures because it taught me a lot about the things I'm good at and things I'm not the best at. I was a very fearless child. I never cared about people's opinions. I did whatever I felt like doing. It didn't matter to me that I failed miserably. I just brushed it off and then I went on to another thing. But I think as you grew up, it's harder to make mistakes. But I think it's important to make mistakes. It's important to allow yourself to pursue different things and maybe completely change career paths if you have to, and just, be open to those kind of changes in your life. My advice to women of the world, and an advice I live by, is never let anyone box you in and make you a stereotype. You can be whatever you want. It's very easy for other people to look at you. Maybe if you look a certain way, they can predict your future and tell you what you are, what you're supposed to be, what your trajectory in life can be. But it's very important to know that you can do whatever you set your mind to. There's never a limitation in your life. You should always pursue things, whatever you want in your life, and not let anybody stop you or define